爸爸又寄给你了。
你知道羊为什么不会摔下来吗？
努力工作，让你事业有成，更让家人过更好的生活。同心协力，我们可以助你妥善理财，扩展家人的视野。
爸爸找你。
爸爸我知道答案了，再追它可以。
富国银行齐心同创富足未来。
You have to keep working on yourself and improving yourself every day. Public policies around education for kids. Hello, my name is Congressman Mike Honda. I'm third generation Japanese American. I represent the 17th Congressional District in the state of California. And my district has over 705,000 individuals. And my district is predominantly a little over 50% Asian Americans. So it's the only Asian American minority district on the mainland outside of the state of Hawaii. I am a congressman not because I wanted to be one. I didn't plan to be one. And when I was growing up, I didn't think that I could be anything. I never really had a dream about being a person that would be important. I grew up, I was born in Walnut Grove outside of Sacramento in a little riverboat town, and my father was working to work himself through college. My mother was helping him. My mother was born here in San Jose in 1916. My father was born in Walnut Grove in 1914. And so I'm third generation Japanese American, and my parents' came from the southern island of Kyushu of Japan, the prefecture of Kumamoto. So because I'm from there, I think that historically we're hard-headed, stubborn males, and we probably have all kinds of blood in us, not pure Japanese. We probably have some Chinese blood in us and some Korean blood. Because that's the island that was a lot of interaction. During the war in 1942, my community was put into camp, and with no reason except that we looked like the enemy, and so our government set aside the Constitution. I say this because governments make mistakes, but government sometimes makes mistakes on purpose. And so, the reason I'm in government is to have a say in what goes on in this country as a congressman. And I could be one of 534 votes from both the Senate and the House of Representatives, but there are more and more people who are like me and who have the same background and the same kind of political sensibility. And so how to control and how to guide this country is a big task. And being a congressman does not mean that I've been successful in my life, but it just means that ordinary people can achieve jobs that are extraordinary. And politics is one of those places. I think that growing up in internment camp and knowing that my government did wrong things to me gave me the incentive to make this society, make this government more true to the Constitution, make sure that people do not get hurt. I'm a school teacher by trade. I was a fair student in high school, a very poor student in college, and my grades were just terrible. There were A's and F's, and I think that it was all because I was not prepared as a disciplined student. I think that if you want to be successful, you really have to have a goal of mind and a reason for being in school. And I think that my reason being in school was that everybody expected me to be in school. not because I wanted to be there. But if they asked me if you wanted to be in school or you want to be outside of school, I'd say I want to be in school because I would be ashamed not to be in school. And so being Asians in those days, the expectation is to go to school and be successful, but I wasn't a disciplined student until I left this country and joined the Peace Corps. Peace Corps is 2 years of service to this country, and I lived in El Salvador, and I found out what my value was. I found out the kinds of things that are valuable to me, and to engage and embrace my own self and my own worth. And then when I figured that out, I was ready to share my history, my experience, and my understanding of life with society. And in doing that, I became a classroom teacher, and then I worked through all the different levels of education to impact youngsters and to impact society, and to share of my own experience so that the kids don't have to go through the same terrible barriers that I had to go through, of learning about yourself, liking yourself, valuing yourself. And I think that's probably one of the most important things a young person can have, is know yourself and value yourself. Well, I had two people in education that inspired me to go into teaching. And one was Dr. Paul Sakamoto. He's retired now, and he was a wonderful educator, thinker, and researcher. And the second was Pete Mesa. Pete Mesa was an individual that was a good friend of Paul Sakamoto, by the way. And they both were very intelligent and very thoughtful and very deep into understanding youngsters and young people, but also making sure that schools work for kids, that the kids are not there for school, the school's there for kids. It's an important distinction to understand. So they were my models in terms of education, and then I wanted to understand why so many young people who are smart are not performing. And we tend to blame the kids, the parents, the teachers unions. We tend to blame their language and everything else, but it's really not them. Actually, the youngsters and the families are victims to an educational system that's not perfect, and it's not built for youngsters. And so my job is to sort of turn that image around, turn that expectation around, and have public education work for youngsters. So we're there for them, so we need to be the best system for each and every child. Not all children, but each and every child. And that's our responsibility as a constitutional democracy. And I think that that's what our parents should expect, and that's what I think a student should expect. Well, I said that I was in Peace Corps, and in Peace Corps, I was in a town by myself. I was sick for 2 weeks, and I was so sick I thought I was going to die. But it was at that moment I decided that I would rather die trying to survive and fulfill my obligation, Peace Corps, than go home. I think going home was more of a defeat and shame than sticking it out. And so I learned to stick it out. And so in the field of teaching and in the field of policy making or politics, there wasn't a moment that I felt like I needed to give up. Those moments are the times that I knew that that's the reason why I'm there. When things are good, people can do the job. But when things are bad, or you need to have someone to be part of the solution, that's why I'm there. Yeah, well, I think two things. One, it's good to be sensitive, but you cannot let it get under your skin. Being sensitive is to listen and to understand, so that maybe I should change, or at least consider other people's thoughts. To be tough means that, to me, it means that you're going to hang in there and you don't care what people think and say. I care about what people think and say. But being tough also means to do it anyways and to stick it out and see it through. And it's all part of being part of this country's objective. This country's goal is to be a perfect nation. That's in our Constitution's preamble. In order to form a more perfect union, we hold these truths to be self-evident, and that is the people to be able to pursue life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And I think that that's my job, to make sure that everybody in this country have that same opportunity. Children, old people, immigrants, documented, undocumented people, they all deserve it. Well, I would really like to see our healthcare system perfected. There's a lot of people who want to kill it. That's crazy. There's 49 million people that don't have healthcare insurance, and they should. Nobody should be sick unnecessarily in this country. Everybody should be able to have good healthcare. Second is everybody should have an education that they require according to their own needs, not according to society's needs. We create all these public policies around education for kids, not for their needs. We say it is, but it's really for society's needs. We want them to be able to read and write so that they'd be good workers. Workers for who? The companies. Well, we should have these youngsters go to school so that they're good thinkers, good decision makers, and good conscious and ethically good people, so that they can make good decisions and be good citizens. Then this country and the companies and everybody else can benefit from that kind of person. When I was married and my wife was alive, it was balanced because she helped me balance it. When she passed away, my life became just work, and that's not healthy either. So when I realized that I had to have a balance, it's hard to bring it into balance, because I keep thinking that if I'm enjoying myself and going on vacation, I feel guilty because I should be doing work. But it's important to have a good balance in life, because that's what life is all about. A good balance of yin and yang, you know. If you're not healthy and you're not of good sound body and mind and soul, then you're good for nothing. Well, first, have a dream. I didn't have a dream until I was past 30, I guess, because I just was very confused. But having a vision about what you want to be able to do, what you want to leave behind, is important. Some of the basic things you want to leave behind: a good reputation, a good name, and a good family, and good works. But to achieve that, you have to keep working on yourself and improving yourself every day. Be an open mind, have an open spirit, embrace people and their differences, help solve problems, don't be part of the problem. And I think growing up and going to school, I think time becomes something that becomes important to young people. So, oh, it's going to take too much time to do this, and I'll be too old. Well, I'm 70, I'll be almost 74 this year. I think young people will just have to follow a dream and lay out a plan and execute the plan and just do it. Because whatever they do, whatever they achieve in school is always useful in the future. Sometimes they don't know that. But if they listen to older people say, everything that you learn is helpful, you know, and it helps you make better decisions. But, you know, just get things done, be prepared for the next step. You don't know what that next step is going to be. If you said I was going to be a congressman, I would have said, you must be high, or you must be very wrong. But here I am, because opportunities took me down the road, and I made decisions. But I stayed in education. I stayed on social justice. I stayed on civil rights. And as I moved along, that all turns out to be politics. So, in a nutshell, politics is about being with people. It's not about being elected or anything else like that. That's one form of politics. But the basic politics is, what kind of person are you in your family? Firstborn male, does he get everything? In the old days, maybe, in our old culture, but today, there should be equality among the kids, whether you're a boy or a girl. And you should treat girls well. You should not hurt them, beat them up, or anything else like that, because I think the other vision I have is a world that eliminates violence against women. It's a terrible thing that conflict happens and women are abused. It's a terrible thing when you have wars with domestic violence, and the stronger person beats up the weaker person. Unless the woman is more strong than the guy, then maybe she abuses him. But, violence against women has to stop, period.